Hey guys, what's going on? Joe Paris back with you for another Final Cut Pro 10 tutorial. And in this tutorial, we're going to be using and adjusting using the color wheels for our exposure. Now, again, in our previous tutorial, we're going to go ahead and go to the window. We're going to go to our workspaces and we're going to go to color and effects. After that, we're going to be working with the Luma. So we want to go ahead and click on the Luma. And then from there, we want to do our view to be singular. So again, we're going to need to go into Luma. There we go. So here's our clip. And instead of actually using the color board like we did in our previous tutorial, we're going to be using the color wheel. Simply click on the drop down arrow and click color wheels. Now, as you can see, like we saw in our previous tutorial, we're a little bit overexposed. So what we want to start doing is using these shadows, highlights, and midtones to drop this down. So if we click on our midtone here, and we bring this down a little bit, that's working with the midtones overall. And we want this to be, well, yeah, right about at 75. Perfect. But the overall master highlights here, we want to bring this down perfect, right? Like, see how this is right at 100 now, and if we bump this up, it's overexposed. We want this to be right about there-ish, right? Maybe a little bit lower. Perfect. And then we could take the shadows, right, and move the shadows up a little bit. That's fantastic. So the shadows here are above 0, like right above 0. And then we have our overall exposure here at right under 100. Okay, and you can see now the image is pretty good. So if I click on this, overexposed, like you can see it's definitely bright, right? Click here, just about the perfect exposure. So this is how you can now fine tune with the color wheel, right? So I can use the shadow saturation here, right? I can use the overall saturation here to make it even more saturated, really saturated, way too saturated. And you can see that over on our left-hand side here as well. But the point that I'm making to you is this is just another option for you to play around with the color wheel. In our last option, we're going to talk about how to use and adjust and get proper exposure using the color curves with Final Cut Pro 10. Thanks guys, I'll see you in the next tutorial. Stay tuned.